happy to have you here, but I just want to give you a little background. I also want to get a little background on you.
Yeah,
I have the stat stuff.
Yeah, of course.
That's there.
Yep.
I don't know you. Tell me about you.
Yeah, so I'm from the area, South Dade. I grew up in an area called Richmond Heights.
Yay.
Yeah, the Heights.
Yes.
I'm one of 7 kids, all boys and 1 girl.
Okay.
My baby sister, she's the baby. She's the last one. I am the first of my siblings to graduate from high school, the first to graduate from college.
Wow.
My brother and sister came behind me, did the same thing. My sister's now in New York, your former stomping grounds.
Yes.
She's in the city. She's attending law school at Cordoza.
Nice.
And then my baby brother's in Chicago. My 2 older brothers, one of the reasons I feel passionately on the whole criminal justice reform piece, both my older brothers did time for drug sales. Both caught felony records. When they got out after paying their time, found it nearly impossible to get a job, found it nearly impossible to take care of their kids, their partners, and now their spouses. And so both of them started their own businesses. My brother in Jacksonville started mobile detailing.
Yes.
Then he started pressure washing homes, then buildings. And now he's got a contract with semi truck companies where he goes and basically makes these things look practically brand new because they've been run down so much.
Right.
And it's a great gig for him, and he's doing exceedingly well. My brother in Georgia is he calls himself owner of the gas station. They don't sell no gas. It's more like you're from New York, so I use the term bodega.
Yes.
But you can go if you're a working person, you can get a hot meal during the day, or if you need groceries, you can get some eggs or milk or whatever.
A t-shirt if you need one.
Yeah, exactly. Some batteries, toothpaste. In fact, right before I entered this race, a reporter here in the state sent me an email that he had gotten. It took off who it came from.
Right.
And the subject line was the Gillum gang. And in it had my older brother's criminal background history, right? They're shot over the bow to let me know what's coming, right, as I enter this race.
Right.
And I've been so forward in talking about it because the truth is they don't know the hallelujah moment. Right? They know, the scorn of it, but what they don't know is where they are as they've come out of it, right? And I talk about it again because I think it's important for people to know that there is life after, right? The society, everybody pushes you down, but there's absolutely life afterwards.
And that's beautiful.
To do it.
And your story resonates with a lot of average people here.
Yeah.
It's like you said again. Not everybody has the family that we can.
Yeah, you don't choose them.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Not only that, not everybody has that royal family that can just get everything and stroke of the pen and get this paid for and all that stuff. Some of us actually have to work for what we need and where we get. So and I think your story more resonates with a lot more people.
We think so, right? And not just for the sake. It is a tough state. There's no doubt about it, right?
Florida's tough.
But Florida is also a state that twice elected Barack Obama. We went twice for Bill Clinton. We lost the last 2 elections for governor by less than 1 point. Fewer than 70,000 voters in a state of 20 million people decided who gets to be governor of the state of Florida. We have that in your listenership alone. Folks who didn't vote have the ability, have their rights, maybe they're registered or maybe they have the ability to be eligible to go register, yet they have not decided to engage in an election. If anybody's telling themselves that their vote doesn't matter, take, for instance, what happened in Virginia. Wow. So we elected for the first time an African-American lieutenant governor in the state of Virginia this past election in Virginia. But the House had the opportunity to go from Republican control to Democratic control. And there was one seat in dispute. The person who ultimately won had one more vote, literally one more vote than their competitor. Wow. And what hung in the balance is whether or not Democrats took control or whether Republicans took control. And so if it's never been more evident, it's always mattered to me, but just know that nobody's vote can be taken for granted. You may be that one vote that is the difference between whether I'm the next governor of the state of Florida or whether we get another 4 years of regressive politics.
A lot of times we look at situations and we'll say, oh, man, we as a people need to do better. We as a people need to do this. We as a people need to do that. I used to be that person. Now I kind of go to the root of things. I try to find out, well, why? Why isn't it that we don't react certain ways? Why isn't it that we don't do certain things? And I think your story, to me, from the outside looking in, I don't know everything, and I don't try to act like I know everything. You understand? But I'll put things out there to get feelers.
I get it.
I think if we had more people like us in those positions, it'll invigorate us more. Just like how you gave the example of Barack Obama. Yeah. That brings out more because now you feel like you're a part of
connected.
Where before, if it's just all of one kind, you'd be like, I don't care.
It's all the same thing.
Y'all gonna screw me each way.
That's right.
Whatever the case may be.
That's right.
So I think what you're doing and what a lot of others are doing is what is now going to help to create that space where people could come out, feel confident about being a part of the system. Because me watching, honestly, when I watched I didn't really watch it. I watched the beginning of it for a reason. The State of the Union address.
Yeah,
right?
You were smart.
Thank you. I just watched the beginning of it. And all I kept on saying to myself is like, no disrespect, and I'm not trying to put you in an uncomfortable space. I just said, besides looking at Cory Booker, I was like, man, look at all these old white people.
I get it.
And there was not a lot that represents the majority, which is millennials right now.
Yeah.
They are the majority. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see why they wouldn't feel comfortable or space within that. But as you and others are starting to get into that space, I think people will start to get more open to it.
Well, I mean, you summarize this so well. A lot of people don't see themselves reflected in politics. They don't see their lived experience reflected. They don't see people who look like them. They don't see people who come from their background. And the truth is that when you are a candidate like me, they come at you with full force, man. And it is a lot to put not only yourself through, but I'm a husband to my wife. I'm a father to my 3 kids. At some point, they're going to see what is said, what is written, the negative campaign that will ensue undoubtedly as we continue in this race. And that's a big decision that you have to make when you put yourself out there for this. But the truth is that somebody has to do it, right? Somebody's got to go first. Somebody has to make that way just a little bit smoother for the next person who comes next.
So when you say first, would you be our first black mayor?
I'd be the first black governor of the state of Florida.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's all good. I'm the current mayor, but you're right. Yeah.
But you would be the first black governor for the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's historic in its nature, and that's different. And for some people, it may make them feel a bit uncomfortable, but that's no reason not to, trudge ahead. And to be more than honest, Papa Keith, it is less about, Andrew Gillum, can he win? It's so much more about the moral imperative that we have for the things that we care about. The fact that we have a governor that has withheld the expansion of Medicaid for 1.5 million of the most medically needy people in our state, many of them black and brown folks. The fact that we have a governor that refers to our teachers as evil and our schools as failure factories. The fact that 47% of people in the state of Florida are working every day and can't earn enough to take care of themselves and their families, right? That's what's in the gap in these elections. There may be a name on the ballot, but what's beneath that name, when you pull back the layers of it, is somebody who's either going to advance your agenda, make life better for you, your family, where you come from, or not.
Right.
And what we've had in this state for 20 years is the or not.
Right.
And in my opinion, in a state as diverse as the state of Florida, we're the 3rd biggest state in the country. There are more registered Democrats in the state of Florida by some 300,000 than there are Republicans. There are more independents who lean Democratic in the state of Florida than there are independents who lean Republican.
So let me ask you, where are you in it? Because I'm still learning a lot in this year and a half.
Yeah.
So right now you are the only Democratic candidate for governor?
There are 4 of us competing on the Democratic side, and the Republican side is still forming itself.
So tell me how that process works.
Absolutely.
So
Great question.
You have to get through the 4 first.
That's exactly right. Okay. So there's a primary election on August 28th of this year. That primary will be between whoever is in the race at the time. If all 4 of us are still in the race, I certainly plan to be one of the 4. But if somebody makes a decision not to continue forward, whoever is left on deck August 28th are the candidates that Democrats will have a choice to choose from. I should be clear about this point too. And that is, in the state of Florida, we have something called closed primaries. There's some states around the country where they're open primaries. But a closed primary means you must be registered as either a Democrat or a Republican in order to vote, right? Yes. A lot of younger people are registered either as non-party affiliates or as independents because they say they can't relate to either party. Let me be very clear. If you are at all interested in seeing our campaign advance and go forward, you must be a registered Democrat. in order to participate in the Democratic primary.
And this is a very important
it's a huge point, because if you are not, you cannot vote. It's just that simple.
Right.
And if you remain an independent and don't participate in the primary process, the only choice you will get is the one that everybody has decided on without your input.
For you, yeah.
Absolutely. And so if you want to have input, and that's also what makes it difficult for people like me, right? Because young voters, 18 to 35, are about 4.8%, less than 5% of the electorate. If they voted at their strength, man, young voters could determine who the nominee is every time if they chose. And by the way, black voters, and I say black and not African American, black voters in the Democratic Party will represent about 30% of the electorate. And a four-way race where there is no runoff, you're talking about a nominee who gets selected by 40% of the vote on the high water mark. And so when you're 30% of the electorate, you can almost single-handedly decide who the nominee of the Democratic Party is going to be. We never think about it in those terms because we really never get choices on a candidate like me in those kinds of races. And so I'm not asking for anybody, let me be very clear, to vote for me because I'm a black man. I'm asking you to vote for me because I feel most qualified for the position. I've got more years in public service than anybody else that I'm running against. I've served for 15 years, having gotten elected at the age of 23, and having gotten elected mayor of the city, the youngest person in my city's history. I'm right now presiding as the mayor of the capital city of Florida, where my economy is the fastest growing economy per capita in the state of Florida, 17th fastest growing per capita in the country. It's because in my city, I broke ground on a 120-acre solar farm to diversify the kind of solar energy that we need to help fuel this state. It's because I put forward the kind of ideas and represent, in my opinion, the kind of values that our state needs and deserves.
Well, my daughter lives in your city and goes to FAM.
You got a daughter at FAM, man?
I sure do.
You're a little young for that, no?
Looks are deceiving.
All right. Well, hey, it's all love. I'm a Rattler, so
that's what's up.
I got nothing but love for Rattlers.
Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed.
But you know what? After all of that, I believe my highest recommender for this office is my lived experience. I believe that my lived experience in this state is much more like the people who I'm asking to vote for me and the people I hope to represent if elected than anybody else running, and we are the majority. So why is it that we keep pushing off our option, our seat at the table to somebody else?
Answer that question for me, please.
Well, I don't know the answer to it. I don't know why. Well, first of all, I think we have to walk into our power. I think we have to recognize that it's not enough to complain.
Why? Because a lot of listen, tons of people come through this radio station since we started, I won't call it little, I have to stop doing that. Since we started our mission.
Indeed.
And to empower our people. A lot of people come with all of these different ideas and all these different stuff. Yeah. And they're all great, whether it's nonviolence, whether it's helping out this one, whether it's the homeless, they're all great. But from what I gathered and just having to deal with this so much, it's like knowledge of self. Yeah. If we don't start with that in some capacity, it's so more difficult to get past everything else.
For sure.
If you don't know who you are and you don't know the power you have and own, it's hard for you to move on to those other areas of improvement.
It's totally true.
So
I think I agree with you. First of all, we got to take more ownership and agency over ourselves, right? It's not what everybody's doing to us. It's also what our contributions are to the problem. So one way in which you contribute to solving problems is by exercising your right to vote. I get the fact that a lot of people are frustrated that I vote and there's this election, there's that election, but stuff ain't changing on my block. Well, we got to remind people. I realize the presidency is important. We all get agitated and worked up about it. But if I had to be honest, the work that I do as a mayor probably impacts people in my community on a more regular basis than anything that happens in Washington, D.C.
Well, that's a fact.
That's not to say that it doesn't matter, but my turnout for municipal, it's a fact. Yeah. But my turnout for a municipal election is a shadow of what comes out in a presidential election. And to take that a step further, the governorship is much more relevant to what happens in your everyday lived life in this state than a president.
Voting. This is what I said when I went through this. Again, a lot of this is new to me, and I'm green to a lot of this stuff.
No, give yourself credit. I hear you.
How do we make it sexy? Yeah. Because I always said, even after the election, I said, you know what? If we were able to vote on an app, forget about it.
Yeah,
everybody will be voting. It'll be because it's
and
sexy.
That's why it won't happen. By the way,
I know that.
They don't want everybody voting.
I know that.
Let's be clear about it.
And I know that's why. And I don't know everything, but I could tell you this much because with the how I've educated myself and rolling with guys like Willis Howard and stuff like that. I already know you got to go to places like Century Village and all these places and talk to these people because they are the diehard ones that are going to show up.
That's right.
And we're not. And it's almost like, when they wanted to talk about where Hillary should have spent her time, it's based on the fact that, you speaking to the choir or who already knows. But those are the ones who are going to come out and vote, and then are you wasting time talking to these people who ain't going to come out?
Yeah, it's. Let me tell you, that's a real proposition. I mean, when I ran for city commission, I was 23 years old. Nobody thought we had a chance of winning, including my mama, who gave me $5. Actually, it was 20. I took 5 for myself, but it was 20. Don't tell the elections law. I was supposed to report that. But $20 and told me not to spend it all in one place. That was her belief in what it was to be involved in, to be a donor in politics, which, by the way, that's a good start for anybody. Right. Give. Right. If you give some of your hard-earned money, you're much more likely to be invested. You're much less likely to just pass it over. You're no longer a spectator.
Right.
You're in the mix, involved. Right? You matter. And by the way, you're a donor at this point. That's a different relationship to politics than being a spectator in the process. So first step, I would encourage people before election day ever hits, put your money where your mouth is. If you like what you hear, if you like a candidate, don't just wait. Oh, I'm going to get you. I had a barber that once told me he's going to get me on the ballot box. He's going to get me on election day. I showed up the week after the election. He's like, bro, I'm going to get you on election. I'm like, bro, election day was last week, right? So that I'm going to get you, it will get us nowhere. What we've got to do is invest. We've got to be involved in these races in a serious way, and then we got to show up and we got to vote. But I went and campaigned on college campuses, and people were like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. 9 voters voted on FSU's campus in the previous election that was local, right? And we turned hundreds out in our race because it's what we had to do if we were going to win.
Right.
So we created a constituency, right? We went where people said don't go, and we motivated and inspired those people to show out. And had I not done that, I would not have gotten elected to the city commission. And I certainly wouldn't be sitting here as the mayor of Tallahassee running for governor of the state of Florida, right? And so we got to go those places.
This is what I was going to suggest to you with all due respect.
Please.
You didn't ask. So
please.
With
well, we're asking.
I believe because I come into a lot of things. I used to come into a lot of things defensive. And I think that's where that fear comes in. So it kind of all connects. We come in like, hell, here we go. Here go another suit and tie. What you going to tell me? A lot of us, millennials, blacks, whatever, a lot of us that used to me, but a lot of people who don't vote and do these things, they come into it with that. I think, because this is what I had liked about Senator Bullard, because once you're a senator, you're always
Dwight,
Dwight Bullard. This is why I became a Dwight Bullard fan. I went to a situation where he was speaking, and I like when you educate me and you don't feel like you like, it's not like the like when, how I want to say it, when you have to sit through those
lectures,
you have to sit through the lectures so that you could get 4 tickets to Disney. The timeshares.
Oh, the pitch, the timeshare. Oh, God.
I'm so over that.
Torture.
I'm so over that. And I'm watching how music is dealing with it.
Yeah.
Right now, the people who are winning in music are people who are living their truths.
That's right.
Who are just being like, look,
that's right.
I messed up. I'm this person. I'm that person. I'm gay. I'm that.
Totally
whatever
agree.
It is, this is my truth. People are
totally agree.
Are attaching themselves to truth now. And so what I think would be a good thing, and I don't know if you may already be doing it, but if you were just to kind of like, again, the knowledge of self is the key.
Absolutely.
If you were just to educate people on things that we just don't know, and be like, hey, this is my name. I'm educating you on this. I'm out. Believe it or not, I think you will really get that organic
I love that.
following and stuff like that. It doesn't, because we've seen that movie so much where it's like, hey, this person is this what makes me better from this person. This what makes me better from that person. And I get those things, and I understand that's a
contrast.
Right. I understand it's a part of politics, but I think the people are really looking for something a little different.
I agree with you.
And I think
it's a great point.
I think because you're young and because you have that swag, I think you can be that person.
Can you say the swag part again? Hey, Tomas. Akila, y'all heard that?
Yes.
He said I had swag.
Yes, indeed. I think you could be the one to really pull it off in that kind of a way. Or, if even have it be added to what you already do. Because to me, in the conversation with you right now, the fact that you're educating me to certain things, I'm becoming a fan of yours.
Appreciate that.
Having never known you. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
So now with that, like how you say, having skin in the game.
Oh yeah.
With money, yeah, that's one part of it, but we can't even get to that if I can't connect with you.
Right. That's right.
So
that's right.
Now I have an emotional skin in the game because you put me onto something and you didn't have your palm out like a preacher. I mean, no disrespect.
It's real. I hear you.
Keeping it 1,000.
I hear you.
You don't have your palm out like, hey, I gave you all this knowledge and everything, but they go to
Pay
collection
me.
play.
Yeah, it's coming.
I will organically now support you and do that because you came at me at an angle where you set yourself apart from everybody else who's come at me before in that similar position.
I get it. No, that makes sense, man. It makes total sense. I mean, the truth is because of the demographic of voters who we have to engage, we've got to start with making sure everybody got the base level of what it is, right? Yes. I talk about Donald Trump sometimes, and mostly because it's
the elephant in the room.
It's the elephant in the room, but it's also like a really sad state of affairs, right?
Extremely.
It's a really sad state of affairs. I mean, his comments every day, whatever that is. So anyway, we move past him real quickly because the truth is most people just want to know what it is that you're going to do that's going to make a difference in their lives.
But even with him, he used that same formula I'm talking about. Did. He appealed to people's egos. He appealed to certain things in people that has never been done before.
Absolutely, he did. Now, he lied about it.
Right. So that's why a person who, like, on paper and everything else should have never served, never did anything, just totally uncommon to what we're used to in politics.
Sure, he was different.
Pull that off because he went about it in that way.
I agree. He also scared a lot of people coming on the heels of Barack Obama saying that this is no longer your country, right? He inspired people around the fact that we needed to make America great again after the depths of the Barack Obama era. And he gave, I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but the truth is he gave some white people who have felt out of power, with a feeling that they don't recognize the country they live in anymore, he gave them the opportunity and the reason to come out and beat their chest again. And I believe that there are people who were legitimately feeling like they weren't getting their fair shake and their fair shot. And he offered them an opportunity. And maybe they didn't like his racism and rhetoric and bigotry and sexism, but he offered enough of what was different for them to get behind him. And then there is a group who are racist and bigoted and sexist, and he was saying out loud in polite society what was being said in at home, right? Yes. And behind closed doors. And there were folks who respected that fact, and they got behind him. Now, I'm not saying which group of his supporters is greater, but I think you had a confluence of these constituencies that were like, man, I'm seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They see me now.
And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
You can take that same formula and actually do good with it.
Do good is imperative, right? That's the mark right there. Yes. Do good, do better.
Hey, it's Bobby Cinnamon for Hip Hop R&B in the Breakfast Club. We are 103.5 The Beat, and you heard it. Special edition show today. We have Mayor Andrew Gillum, Tallahassee Mayor, who is actually running for governor of our lovely state of Florida.
That's right.
And we are chopping it up, getting it in. So, did you ever feel that you consider yourself an African American, right?
Yeah, I'm black.
Okay, black. Mm-hmm. Some people, it's either African American, black. So I didn't want to insult.
No. Black is good.
Black.
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful. So.
And I'm real black, by the way.
Factory. So listen. Do you see that as a challenge or a plus for you in this situation?
I don't see it as a challenge per se. There's some people who would say that, running for office in this state as a black man is ludicrous, right? And I remind them that the last time a Democrat has won this state, it was a black man. And he did it twice with about 30% of the white vote and then mastered the black and brown vote. I won't suggest that there aren't challenges that come with that, right? And what I try to do is not to be victim to what those challenges are. I try to pay little attention to the superficial barriers that get erected based off of the color of my skin, and try to refocus people as best I can on the content of who I am and the ideas that we're trying to move forward in this state. And I think once we get over that issue, if I don't walk in carrying that, I'm less likely to have people walk away with that sentiment. They start to see me as just some other person. Now, by the way, I don't think it's a bad thing to be seen as a black candidate. By the way, I think that we bring a lived experience that is an important one and a perspective that should be heard in this state. But if somebody's running around saying, get with me and vote for me because I'm a black candidate, that's insufficient, right? That's not enough. You got to have more than that because I'm a Rosa Black. Right, I wouldn't be voting for her for nothing.
Right, exactly.
Right, I don't want to have her representing me for anything, and so it does matter what's behind that, and I try to focus people on the message and less on me the person necessarily.
I coming from New York, I had always expected, and I had to relearn things. I'd always expect like the Latins in South Florida to be more aligned with the blacks, and it was a surprise to me coming here from New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To learn that it's not like that down here.
Well, you're in South Florida, and the Hispanic community is very diverse here. But for a long time, the majority Hispanic population was Cuban, and
yeah. But how do you forget that you suffer too? How do you forget that you're a minority too? How do you forget that? People crapped on you as well, and you just come here in Florida and be like, yeah, well, we here now. So
I'll tell you, in other parts of the state, across the I-4 corridor, and especially with the influx of more Puerto Ricans into the state of Florida,
especially Orlando.
Yeah. There's a shared experience. There is a bigger and a stronger identity to a shared experience of oppression. A shared experience of I've not had it easy, and sometimes I haven't had it easy because of the complexion of my skin, where I come from, the language that I speak.
Yeah.
Especially when you have right now, like we have in Florida, a Speaker of the House, and Richard Corcoran, who wants to run for governor, who is running a commercial in this state with a person who's identified to be a quote unquote undocumented person, or to use their language, an illegal alien, who then aims a gun at a white female. And the rest of the image is to say he shoots her, and he makes the point that all undocumented people in this state are murderers, right? I mean, they're using.
Yeah, but why do they accept that? It's no different from the mayor of Miami, who did the same thing, like supported Trump on that.
Absolutely,
how
on
do you do that
cities.
when that's your people?
So the truth is that we don't have to have this conversation in the abstract with regard to the Hispanic community. We can have it with the African American community, the black community alone.
True.
Some of my biggest obstacles in this race have been with black people who either have concluded that it's not possible, or they have a history of giving money to candidates, and they'll give a white candidate double what they'll give me, and I will have to ask 3 times to the other candidates 1 time. I tell you, who was it? Carter G. Woodson wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. And in it, a quote that I'll never forget is said, when you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. You don't have to tell him to go here or go there, because he'll go there naturally. His education makes it necessary.
3-pointer
so
from
we
the
have
corner.
to break that chain. Right?
Ray Allen 3-pointer from the corner. Another one, B. That was 2, man. Usually people get 1 in. You got 2 of those.
Come on, man.
In.
Get out of here.
Hey,
get out of here.
This is Andrew Gillum. He's running for governor. Shoot your shot again, brother. Please tell people how they can get in contact with you, how they can follow your campaign, how they can get involved.
That's right. So I want y'all to follow us. First of all, we're on all the social media platforms. My website is andrewgillum.com. That's ANDREWGILLUM. No IUM, no IAM, GILLUM.com. AndrewGillum.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, for if there are any millennials still on Facebook.
They are.
And obviously IG. We're on all of them.
All right, we appreciate you so much, and good luck.
Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate the platform.
All right, that's what it is, man.